Hello, hello, hello. Hi, guys. Hi, hi, hi. How are you all? Hello, hello. I'm going to get this up, I hope. Live. Here we go. Okay. Hi. I hope everyone is good on this Saturday night after Thanksgiving and after the Black Friday craziness. And my cat just meowed her hello, hello, Sherry's kitty. Okay. So first of all, let's see who's here. Hi, Sherry. Hi, M.A. Alexandra. Hello. Laura. Hi, honey. I think she knows your voice. Aw, she's so cute. And hello, Michael. Okay. So how is everyone? I hope everyone is good. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Hello, my Dana love. Hi, T. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I had a pretty good one. It was nice. We spent time with family and friends. I am feeling better. I'm not perfect yet. I mean, you know, not that I'm ever perfect, but I was sick last week. I don't know if you heard. That's why Tarot Tuesday got postponed till this week. It wasn't a big deal. It's funny in the age of COVID that anything, any cold, anytime you feel run down, it was kind of I was really tired. I had, like my throat sounded funny. And I think I was just run down. It was, you know, we'd been really working hard lately. All right, I have to lower this light. It's really, really bright. Ooh. Here we go. Lower. There we go. Hi, I look like a person now. So I needed a couple days off. And the good thing is with shadow work, you kind of get to practice forgiving yourself for needing some time off, which is, you know, not always easy for us to do. But it's okay. And so in the meantime, I have fallen a bit behind in where I thought I would be for shadow work. And again, that's okay. It has to be okay. But I so appreciate Stephen was able to step in for the shadow work check-in. And went live on our admin channel. A lot of you did not know that our admin channel existed. I'm going to give you, this is the link for Steven's check-in, which I cannot thank him enough. I'm not finished watching the whole thing. I've gotten about halfway through it. But you might want to subscribe to the admin channel there. That's kind of a channel that we use as admins, and hopefully eventually we'll get to use it more and more. We had a lot of ideas and plans for it, and then I don't know, then a whole bunch of stuff happened, and we never have used it the way we wanted to and the way we intended to. But Stephen was able to step in and do some check-in kind of work on the shadow work check-in for me on that channel, which was wonderful. And I'm so grateful. So grateful. Stephen has always been such a huge help to me. You could use a good big fun foot hunt with friends. Yes, I agree, Dana. I so agree. Yes, he is wonderful. And he's so good to me. Never ends anyway. Yes, it never ends, right? So a couple things. Let me just tell you about my journey and where I'm at, and then we can kind of go through the lesson kind of that I have for tonight. First of all, I will tell you that sometimes, hi Donna, sometimes it's funny that I beat myself up sometimes when I don't follow through with exactly the plan that I expected to have in my head. Hi, Brandon. So I have not posted in quite a while, and probably almost a week, if not a week, the shadow work cards of the day. And part of that was I got sick. And part of it was I was not feeling the decks that I was using, and I kept trying to force myself to pull from those same decks because I wanted to, like, it's funny. Sometimes I think I'm like anyone else, which I never am. I don't know why I think that. But like Steven picks a deck for the month and uses that deck for the month. And I just can't do that. Once I'm like not connecting or I'm pulling cards and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I feel that. I know better. And because part of it, I think, is my ADD brain, I need to be challenged in different ways that don't make me barf. I hear ya, May. I know I need to be challenged in different ways. And what I find to be deep and interesting and affirming isn't always what everyone else finds. Not that I like both of the decks that I was using, but they just, I wasn't feeling it after a couple weeks. So I have changed decks today. I changed a couple decks. Which one of these is like a shadow work deck anyways for me. This is a deck that I've had for a while and I've never used. There are some decks that I know at some point someday I'm going to need. And so I have them in my repertoire for someday. Well, this is one of those. This is the Fallen Angel Oracle. This deck wasn't available for a long time. It was out of print and very hard to find. So when they reprinted this deck recently, last year or the year before maybe, when they reprinted this deck, I got it immediately because I thought, okay, eventually it must be, I'm going to need this deck because I kept trying to find it before it had been reprinted. Okay, good. And I'm not an angel person. So I immediately was like, oh, I don't know. But this deck specifically is about fallen angels. So I found it very interesting. So I have started to pull from this deck, is one of the decks that I decided to pull from. And it's somewhat difficult for me with this deck. I'm just going to show you some of the cards, and then I'll talk about the card that I pulled for today. It's somewhat difficult for me because this is not a deck that I normally would use. Like, I won't be using this for readings or stuff like that because the keywords on here are not enough for me. So I really have to look at the book. And if you know me, that's not what I usually do. So this is a book kind of deck for me. Today's card, just to use as an example, so you see this is the kind of deck that I'm suddenly drawn to using, is Bower or Bower or however you want to say it. And it is Help and Healing. Help and Healing. And then I'm going to read you the book for what this card means today, and then I'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll kind of move on to what we have for today. Hi, Jazz. So Help and Healing. The element is water, which is hilarious. I have no water in my zodiac at all. Zero, zilch, none. So I find myself purposefully trying to fill a lot of things around me with water, I think, to balance myself. The message: nurture your health and gather supporters for future challenges. Boer can take the form of a 5-pointed star, pentacle, or a fiery wheel with a radiant face in the center. More commonly, he appears as a handsome angel with a bright halo. Boer is a natural philosopher whose burning logic and insight cut through all distracting surface appearances to the secret essence of things, the Platonic idea. He is a master of herbal lore and can cure all manner of diseases with his potions. He also attracts like-minded allies to your cause. And so the reason that's meaningful is because I have found that sometimes when I am left to my own devices, especially during shadow work, because again, keep in mind that when we're doing shadow work, we are vulnerable. That's why we talk about doing affirmation work. Affirmation work is super important because there's such a dichotomy of energies because we feel like we're pulling ourselves down. It's hard to pull these shadows out and look at them and study them and try to break them down and figure out why it is that we've put them into shadow. And so in the meantime, we have to keep up our affirmation work. And I forget sometimes, being the teacher person, I forget sometimes that if I suddenly start feeling like I'm not doing too well, like I'm feeling vulnerable, like I'm doubting myself, I forget that that is part of this and that I need to reach out to the close people around me and say, hey, I'm having a hard time. I have a hard time doing that. And those of you who are close to me will be laughing because it's a rare thing for me to reach out and say, hey, I you know what, I need some help. That's just not usually what I do. So this is the reminder to myself to say, yeah, you know what, Jen, you're part of this too. You know, when I do a series, it's not because I'm the master of this. I know everything, and I'm here to give you all of my guidance as the spiritual teacher here. It is because I'm going through this shit with you. Because yes, I have done this, and yes, I have learned a lot, but I'm not the master of anything. Except for maybe, I do remember, and there's something that sticks in my head from long, long ago. Some of you may know that I grew up a Catholic, that I went to Catholic youth group forever and ever, and that until I was a young adult, until I found my pagan pathway. Hi, Stephen. I thought I was going to be a youth minister. But my youth minister, who I love dearly, I haven't talked to her in a long time, but I still love her dearly. She shaped who I am, a lot of who I am, had said to me once, you know what, Jen, you screw up a lot, but you always get up and try again. You're not one to say, okay, that's it. I'm quitting because I'm not good enough. I'm quitting because I don't know how to do this. I'm not, like, I screw up. I used to, yeah, and same with youth group. I used to, be the black sheep of youth group. I was kind of the bad girl. I did a lot of things wrong. But I would go back every week and be honest about it. And which I do here too. I'm always like, okay, I fucked this up, guys. I screwed this up. It's okay. It's okay to screw it up. What I don't do, even though I'm honest about my faults, what I don't do is reach out to people and say, hey, I need some help with this. I'm having a hard time. So that is, that's where I'm at. I realized this week after, actually Mel and Joseph helped me last night, actually, after the live, to be able to look at the things that I've been going through this week. Hi, Mike and Kathleen and Brandon. And say, wow, I'm kind of going through it this week. I'm kind of at a low point this week. I'm kind of feeling it this week. And so, if that's you, if you're there with me, if you're feeling it this week, if you're feeling somewhat like, damn, is this even working? Keep going, keep trucking, keep stepping forward, keep trying. Get up on the horse and try again, because that's totally normal. We all feel like that. And don't be afraid to reach out for help, even if it's help that you at the time go, that's not really, I don't know, that didn't help me. Or people don't understand where you're at exactly, or that kind of stuff. It's good to at least acknowledge that sometimes I need to not say I'm not alone, right? All right. Affirmation gets real, banal real fast. Exactly. We all struggle with basically the same shit and the same time. We want to be unique and extraordinary. Yes. Dana says you're a giver and you feel like asking for help is taking, and it's not. I know it's not. I know. We want to be here for you like you are us. I owe you the world. Of course, I want to hear your issues and ups and downs. I know, Dana. I love you, honey. Noticing the triggers and writing them down is helping. Good. Helps me ungaslight myself. And we're going to talk more about that today. So this, let me get through the questions here. Hello, Mama, and all beautiful people listening while eating dinner. Hello, honey. So this session is called the Empathetic Purge. Empathetic Purge, right? Help is here. You just have to be willing to accept it, right? Yes, and that is true. And that's a big part of it, right? That's a big part of it to say, yeah, you know what? I need the help, and okay, I'll allow you to take on this thing that I always feel like I should be, this is my channel. This is my thing. I should be doing it. You okay? Please tell me that's you, Peter.
What?
Okay, just checking. I thought Mr. Griffin might be around because I heard something. I thought, please tell me that's Peter. So I always feel like this is my channel. I should be doing everything, just like the shop stuff. I always feel like that's my shop. I should be doing everything. But I do need to reach out and be able to help or ask for help. Yes. And Stephen, I said in the beginning, you weren't here in the beginning, but I said how thankful I was. And again, we shared that video, and I told everyone what a big help Stephen is to me and how grateful I am that he has been around with me for so long now. And hopefully you all will subscribe to that channel too, because there are going to be times where I ask the admins to step in for me with something, and that's the channel that they'll be going on. So okay, empathetic purging. What does that mean? Hopefully, some of you looked at the title of the Shadow Work series. Oh, and first of all, I will say, I know we're 20 minutes in now. I will say two things. One is, we don't have a time limit tonight because Hexen is not going to do a show tonight. He hasn't been feeling well. And is getting some much needed rest. And after tonight's Shadow Work series, I am going to be taking some readings. We're kind of, the holidays are here and stuff, and so Mama is short financially. Not short, but, I could use some help financially, and so I'm going to be taking readings, which will be $5 donations and up. For $5 donation, I will pull a card for you. However, so tonight's is called the Empathetic Purge. What does that mean? Did anybody look at that and have an idea of what? Yes, pay your invoices. That helps. So true. Of what that meant, or if that meant something specific to you and you want to share. And I will start going into what my point of this was. When we started the Shadow Work series, I have said several times The difference between urge and purge. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. There are, to me, there are 3 things you can do when you pull that shadow out. So the point of shadow work is to shine a light into the parts of ourselves that we have hidden on purpose, subconsciously or consciously, and to decide what to do with those shadows that we have hidden. And there's 3 things we can do. The first is we shine the light, we pull that shadow out, and we examine it. And we say, this shadow helped me. This shadow enabled me to get through something that was very difficult for me, but it's not an issue that I'm going through anymore. And I'm realizing that this may be just something that, because of the trigger, because of the thing that I went through, I tend to have this reaction when I think, oh no, this situation might be coming up again. But really, it hasn't come up again. I don't need to protect this part of myself anymore. This is not mine anymore. I don't need this shadow anymore. And it becomes something fairly, not easy, but it becomes something fairly obvious that I should be able to let this go. This really doesn't need to be a part of me anymore. And so we keep it out in the light until we can set it down and say, okay, this is not mine. And how do we do that? We do that by naming this thing, naming the emotion. When we start to feel like, oh no, I think this part of that shadow might be coming up again. Hi, Krista. That shadow might be coming up again. And I may be starting to react based on something that happened long ago, but I don't need to do that anymore. So I'm going to look at it. I'm going to name it. I'm going to not react that way. I'm going to tell myself this is a reaction that I don't need anymore. This is not something I need protection from anymore. And I'm going to stop doing that. And eventually it will be set down. We will put it down. We will realize that's not part of our luggage anymore. And we're going to put it down. So that's number 1. Number 2 is we pull this thing out. We shine a light on it. We realize what it is. We pull it out, examine it. We name it. We say, this is where it came from. This is, I put it in shadow to protect me from this thing that I went through. And it's something that I'm willing to work on. I still feel like it might have to be a part of me sometimes. I still feel like there are occasions where I might still feel so much pain, so much fear, so much anger, so much whatever from that situation that I still might feel like I need protection. And so even though it's not right up in my face, it's not happening right now, I'm not ready to let this go. But you know what? At least I put a light on it. I'm going to leave it in the light. I'm going to try to name it. When I see it come up, I'm going to try to say, oh yeah, you know what? This might be from this thing that happened to me. This might be from something that I may not need anymore, but I'm going to hang on to it. It's not something I'm ready to let go of. That's number 2. Number 3 is we shine the light on it. We name it, we pull it out, we examine it, we realize where it's coming from, and we realize we're deeply embedded into this shadow still. We still feel like we need this shadow. It's still a part of our protective armor. It's still something that, even though we may not be proud of this reaction, we may not be proud of this a way that we are, this is not going to change yet. And I'm not really ready to work on it yet. It's too raw. It's too painful. It's too fearful for me. I'm not quite there yet. And so we put it back. But we put it back knowing that we put a light on it, that we examined it, that we know it's there. So that hopefully in the future, when it comes up again, we can say, you know what? Okay, I do kind of recognize that that's where it's coming from. And we forgive ourselves for the reaction that we have, knowing that that's a part of us that we're not ready to heal from yet. And that's okay. So the empathetic part of this is we are deciding when we come across these shadows, as we look at the we should be making 2 lists, and you can do this on paper, you can do this in your head. The first list is when I close my eyes and I think of my true perfect spiritual self, the spiritual self that I want to be, that I strive to be, that I'm trying so hard, that I'm pushing for. This is what it looks like. And the shortcomings, the places in our lives that are not exactly where we want it to be, the off-kilter places that we are not quite our spiritual selves. Hi, Claire, how are you? The things that we can see are not aligned with our true spiritual perfect self that we're striving to be. And so when we notice that something is off kilter, when we notice that it's not the same, that there's a discrepancy between what we see in our mind's eye as our true spiritual perfect self and the thing that we can see out in the real world, that is created by shadow. So the work comes in, you start to say, okay, what created that shadow? Where did that shadow come from? Can I pinpoint a thing? I can list the shortcoming side easier. Oh, Stephen, most of us can. That's the rub, right? We have to, that goes back to the magician. We'll talk about the magician later. But if you remember when we talked about the magician card, which wasn't that long ago, we talked about realizing the manifesting fucking gods and goddesses that we are. Realizing the incredible nature of who our potential is. And not being afraid to say, hell yeah, I'm better. Hell yeah, I can do that. It's very difficult for a lot of us to look at our mind's eye and say, oh, hell yeah, I'm capable of this incredible human being that is a capable, incredible source of spiritual truth for ourselves. And that's hard for all of us, some more than others, for sure. But what we want to do, and you know what? Dream big. Fucking dream, as high as you possibly can. None of us are going to ever align perfectly with the people that we know we want to be. I think that's part of the joy of the ride of life, is trying to align the best you can and trying to search the best we can to see how close we can come to that. And all of us are going to fall over and over and over. And the truth of things is to not see that as failures, which is not easy all the time, right? Empathetic purging means we want to be good to ourselves. We want to be able to forgive ourselves, which is an incredibly hard thing to do. I try really hard at this point when I can name stuff, when I can name a shadow, when I figure out this is where it came from. Again, we talked last time about setting your shadow outside of yourself and sitting it next to you. Think of it as your best friend. Think of it as a separate entity from yourself. And if your best friend fell, was not perfect, was not able to live up to what they want to be in life, was not able to be the perfect thing, fucked up and did something wrong, would you be able to forgive them for doing the same thing you did? If this was your best friend, if this shadow sitting next to you was your best friend, and they said, wow, I'm sorry. I screwed up. Would you be able to forgive them? If you would, then you need to find a way to forgive yourself, because we should at least be treating ourselves as well as we treat our best friends. Right? Not easy? True. I have a hard time forgiving others. Oh, Sherry, that is a great thing to recognize, though. I'm going to talk about, where is it? I'm going to talk about that really quickly, because hold on. There's something that I have to say about forgiveness, and this was said so well here. Let me find it. And I think I like... truth, anxiety. Breath, where is it? You know where? Name your space. So I hate when I'm going through 3 or 4 different books and I don't get to write down all of the things that I want to, and then something comes up where clearly I needed to highlight something else and I didn't. Hold on. One second. Okay. Where is that? Oh my goodness. I hate this. Hold on. Here we go. Hold on. We're almost there. No, we aren't. Okay. Hold on. I'll get back to it. There's a thing about forgiveness. Hold on. But yeah, I will get there. Did I write this down? I have felt emotionally cleared. Okay, we'll get there. We will get there because it's going to come up again, obviously, because this forgiveness issue has come up. Okay, here we go. So we're going to, don't forget, the card that we've had on our altar this week is the Strength card. It's okay, we forgive you. I love you, Stephen. The card that we've had on our altar this week is the Strength card, right? So the Strength card, hopefully you meditated with the Strength card. You kind of thought about what the Strength card means for you. And I'm going to read a passage. I'm going from Tarot for Troubled Times. I've loved this book. I'm going to end up with this entire book highlighted. But I'm going to read a passage that hopefully is going to help us to bounce forward from our pain. Ready? So I sat in a room with a longtime friend and client, surrounded by gilded mirrors, beautiful china teacups, luscious fabrics. Her face was bright, open, and inviting. I sipped tea and listened as she spoke. I listened to her words and to her heart. Something was brewing deep inside of her. Finally, she said, I am outraged. I am outraged by how I was treated. I put my life into my work, and yet I feel disrespected, as if nothing I did really mattered. This isn't how retirement should feel. I wanted to leave with grace, knowing I left behind something that would grow into the future. Her intensity surprised me. The fire in her belly didn't match her serene demeanor. You could feel the truth in every word she spoke. She wanted to know that her energy wasn't wasted. Her inner world and her outer world weren't aligned. There was a crinkle in her story, the story of her truth and the story of those around her. Then she leapt into another concern about her community. An injustice had taken place, jeopardizing the integrity of the people in a very respected neighborhood. This place that had been built on dream and good intentions was being torn apart by greed and underhanded dealings, and she wanted justice. She openly asked, "What should I do?" Knowing that both her outrage about her retirement and the state of her community were linked together, I decided to pull a card for advice on how to best use her energy. You see, this is a woman who is passionate and altruistic. She dreams the big dream, the dream of the community and the well-being of those around her. She can see the big picture. I pulled one card, Strength. The Strength card in the tarot portrays a serene woman with her hand in the mouth of a mighty lion. Unfazed and unafraid of the raw force and power of this awesome creature, she subdues the lion through empathy rather than force, knowing and acknowledging that she is like the lion himself, a wild-hearted creature pulled and enlivened by her deepest nature. So I began to relay her message. As you set out on a path to live unencumbered by the weight of daily living, you hold space where power can gather. Hold space where power can gather. That's important. Remember that. Rather than fight the world, you begin to move through it, dancing within the eye of this great storm. Because the world will continue to rage around you. You cannot escape the world by retreating inward. Eventually, you will suffocate. Reach out and touch the raw force of nature, the spiral of chaos. Use this as your medium to paint something more like your own internal vision. Strength was reminding her that it wasn't enough to feel outraged. She needed to use this energy for something. A solution wouldn't come from being hurt. It wouldn't come from sitting in meetings. Rather, change would happen when she began to live her truth. So, are we living our truth? Are we using the pain that we feel? Are we using our shadows correctly? Is there a better way to use the pain, fear, anguish, loneliness, depression that has fueled us creating these shadows? There's a way to use it. Sounds like your past year? Yes, Danny, I was thinking the same thing. I have been through quite a fucking year. Quite a year of betrayal. Of feeling like the work that I have done was for naught. Of feeling like, what the fuck am I doing? What is this even doing anything? Is this stepping stone, the stepping stones that I thought were building towards a better future, a future that I dreamt of, were they just false stones? Really, I was going lower? I don't think so. But it's hard to see that. So, is there a point to your pain? Wouldn't you like there to be a point to your pain? I decided partly in reading some of that this week and in talking to Mel and Joseph and pouring out, I've had fears of the business that I've created in my living room now. It's always slower right before the holidays. It's hard. It's hard work sometimes. I feel like we've reached a threshold and that it's kind of at a point where we're going to really move forward or we're going to kind of become stagnant. There's a lot of fear and anxiety that has been involved in doing this out of my house that I thought, wow, I wasn't prepared for that. I think not that I thought more of myself. Because I know I love this, I thought that that would carry me further. I thought that that would do more. And so, good. I know I'm not. There's a much better way. Okay. So I want there to be a point. I want there to be a point to my pain. I want to use my pain as an empathetic bouncing board to launch something transformational from this experience that I have gone through in this past year, or this experience, if you're saying this in your own words, this experience that I created this shadow from. I want to use it. I expect it to help me, God damn it. If I had to experience this pain, this betrayal, this loss, this loneliness, this fear, I want there to be a point. I can imagine that your shadow comes into the light and becomes the star for which we are reaching. When we shine the light on this shadow, can we make it the star and say this pain, this fear, this betrayal, this anger, this hurt, I'm going to use that and bounce from that and allow it to challenge me to do better, to call me to action. How can I use this? Because I guarantee you that your betrayal, that your pain, that your fear, you are not alone, that you have felt that. The tower becomes the star. The tower becomes the star. That's right. You are not alone in your fear. You're not alone in your pain. You're not alone in your adversity. You're not alone in your betrayal. You're not alone in your loss. You're not alone in your loneliness. People, if you are able to be vulnerable and say, whoo, I have felt pain, betrayal, loss, fear. I have felt this. And I am not hiding from that. And I am opening myself up and saying, yep, pain, betrayal, loss, fear. Whoo, look at this is, I have opened my heart up, and I have opened my spirit up, and I have opened myself up to this betrayal, loss, fear, pain. And I am showing it to you. I am showing it to you because it's a normal emotion, because it is a bouncing board. It is a reminder that I am worthy of growth. I am worthy of growth. I am worthy of more. I am worthy of everything I want. Love you, Dana. I am worthy of it all. I am going to use these challenges to challenge me to move forward. I'm going to use it as a bouncing board, as a reminder to myself that I am, yes, we are all awesome. We are all worthy. We are all worthy of growth and of so many things that should be a call to action. And when we talk about calling to action, what does that action have to be? That can be reaching out to a neighbor. That can be reaching out to a friend. That can be doing a YouTube video. That can be writing a blog. That can be writing in your own journal. If you are not ready to share it with the outside yet, forgive yourself. It's okay. Empathetic purging. Share it in your journal and share it with your vulnerable self, your childlike self. Okay. Strength card reminds me of the saying, you need to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and move forward in life. Yes. Use that to claim what's ours. Use it to claim. I declare my path to be on better footing. I declare my path to be straighter, to be more secure. There are ways to help us do that, okay? There are ways to help us do that. How do we want to do that? You are called to action, drawn to the path of self-discovery. Through self-discovery comes expression, and from expression comes change in the outer big world. As you follow your inner vision in the outer world, you create change through empathy rather than force. Create change through empathy rather than force. The blocked spots, the pain, the setbacks, the adversity in your life are a call to action. If you just observe the stuck spots in your life and the world at large, then you are not creating change. There is no room for apathy in magical living. Let these blocks become oracles, showing you a point of power to make changes. There is an old saying, as above, so below. Any changes you make in the inner world will shift the outer world. Any change that we are able to create within ourselves will change those around us. A lot of says, I'm so weak physically, I can no longer drive myself forward. I have always had the strength to bounce back, but I'm not sure I can this time. You don't have to physically. And it's okay to be weak physically and to recognize that. I understand weakness, and you can forgive yourself for any weaknesses that you have, as long as it's not giving up. As long as you say, you know what, I am worthy. I am worth growth. I am worth the ability to reach for the star being our inner spiritual truthful self that we know we can be. So here is what we're going to do. When we start to create change through empathy, we are going to, whatever calls your attention is a message from your intuition. It says, hey, you can do something about this, big or small. The world needs us to return to our self-care consciousness. You are unique. You are dramatic. You are beautiful. You are magic. You are made of the light of the universe, the dust of the stars. The moon lives in the lining of your skin and the glow in your eyes. Give it to the world. Ask yourself, how am I expressing myself in the world? How am I expressing myself in the world? Am I telling my truth? Where am I losing my power? If you're holding your head down and avoiding eye contact with what is happening around you, then you are forgetting your magic. You came here to be magic. We came to this plane to be magic. Be empathetic with yourself. That self-care will pour out into the world around you. Honoring yourself is a sacred act of rebellion. Let me say that again. Some of you may need to write this down, because sometimes we need to feel like rebels. Honoring yourself is a sacred act of rebellion. It says, fuck you, world. I am not going to allow you to make me dishonor myself. I'm going to honor myself as the warrior god, warrior goddess that I am. And I'm going to stand up and say, hell yeah, I am worthy. I am able to do this. I am able to move forward. I am able to take this pain, betrayal, frustration, fear, and ball it all up and say, okay, I'm going to create a star from this that I am now going to reach for and say, you know what? All of this sucks, but I can ball this up and say, hey, look, I have this thing, this pain, and it is in the sky. And instead of allowing it to overcome me and trample me, I'm going to reach for it to say, I am worthy of taking that and using it and making it something better. Making myself better. Using that as a bouncing board to create change within myself and within the world that is around me. The world doesn't always take kindly to those who choose an alternative route. Raging against the collective consciousness of what is right, proper, and responsible can throw up a lot of obstacles, right? But this wild-hearted approach to living is what activates your magic and self-expression. There are times when we find ourselves crushed under the weight of what we should do, rather than trusting what we feel called to do. But when we go deeper inside, we realize honoring the call of our inner wisdom is actually the path to wholeness. Well-meaning people protest when we try to take this approach because they are uncomfortable with owning their own power. And that includes people who love us. Well-meaning people who say, oh, honey, don't reach too high. You don't want to be disappointed again. You don't want to hurt again. You don't want to reach for that star that, you know what, you really can't ever reach it. So if you reach for it, you're just opening yourself up to pain. That should be a big, you should have something in the back of your head that goes, There's a warning, Will Robbins, warning. There should be something. I say this as someone who fought with my mother again today. I have not fought with my mother in months. It has been going well. And then today she, rears her head and I see this place. And unfortunately, I realized something today later, which is it's her pain that she has reflects onto me. And she really does love me. She just doesn't understand that her fears and her pain and her disappointment and her, the things that have hurt her in her life, she's trying to say, I want to protect you from that. But instead of saying that, she says stuff like, well, you hurt me. So don't you see this isn't right? Hi, Jared. So I had an issue with my mother today too. 48. So I'm going to go to page 48. Move into the storm. That's a big one, to move towards the storm. That's how I get rid of my migraines now, is move into the pain. All right. There is something that you can do to ground yourself in the moment. So we've talked a couple times about grounding ourselves into the present moment, about living this present moment for exactly what this is. And this is a big part of how we can let go of some of this pain. The present moment means we accept this moment right now. Whatever is going on, we accept this moment as if we had chosen it. I chose this. I chose to be challenged by this. I accept this moment for exactly what it is. Our pain comes in when we say, oh no, I don't want to feel this vulnerability. This person that is standing in front of me that probably, to be honest, has felt their own pain and is now reflecting that pain against us. If we are honest, if we are able to step back and live in that present moment, which is not always easy, but if we are able to see an attack for what it usually is, which normally it is, I'm hurting, I feel vulnerable, and instead of allowing you in, I'm going to put up a wall and reflect my pain back at you in hopes that I distract you long enough that you don't see that I'm hurting and vulnerable behind here. And then what happens? It causes this chain reaction, because we see this reflection of anger or pain or hurt or sorrow or whatever it is, and it looks like it's reflected at us. And so we react to pain, anger, frustration, whatever it is that they're feeling. We react to that pain and anger by saying, oh, how could you think that about me? I'm now going to shut off, put up a wall, allow something else to be up here and reflect that back at you so that you don't see, ow, you hurt me. I feel pain now. I feel vulnerable. What if you see that I'm not as strong as I think I am? What if you see that I'm crying in the dark because I don't know if I'm good enough? And I feel like you're shining a light on me, and you see that I cried in the dark. That I feel that I'm not good enough. And you're shining that light on me, and I'm not ready for it. In reality, they're shining the light away from themselves because they're hurt, they're in pain. So they're saying, ooh, I'm going to block this. I'm not going to allow this to seep through because you might see my pain. And then we reflect it back, and then we reflect it back. That's why we react. If we're reacting, that's a problem. We're not accepting this for what it is. That's why if we can take a moment, remember we said anytime we feel triggered, if we can take 10 seconds, take 3 deep breaths, not say anything. It's not easy. But if we can take 3 deep breaths, look at the shadow, pull it out. Whoo, this shadow anger thing, sit it next to us. What exactly are you? Really, what is this? Am I angry because you saw my vulnerability, you saw my pain, you saw my fear? I'm afraid? Is this anger from fear? Is this anger from hurt? Is this anger from sorrow, loneliness, loss? What exactly is this thing that's rearing its head? If we can take a moment and look at it, then we might be able to head it off and not react. We might be able to accept it. Because you know what? Pain is okay. It's okay for us to feel pain. Somewhere along the lines in society, we decided that, you're not allowed to feel pain. If you feel pain, something's wrong. That's not right. Pain is a part of life sometimes. Does it suck? Yep, it sucks. But it is a part of life, and sometimes we need to sit in the pain and say, okay, yeah, you know what? This is painful. This hurts. I'm afraid. It's okay. It's okay to sit in stuff that doesn't feel good sometimes. It's all right. It teaches us something. So the question becomes then, okay, when we're feeling off kilter, when we're questioning our thoughts, we have to begin by noticing what our thoughts are. If we can, name them, write them out on a piece of paper, speak them out loud like a recorder. If you do it in a mirror, if you can say, okay, I need a minute, go to the bathroom, look in the mirror and say, I'm ready to kill this person. I'm angry. Then you can say, is this thought true? Am I really angry? Or am I hurt? Am I afraid? Am I feeling vulnerable? Is this true? Do I have proof? So if you say, ooh, I'm so mad at this person, I'm so mad. Are you really mad, or are you hurt, or are you angry? If you can't get past that part, you can say, yeah, you know what? I might be angry. Are they really worth the ingredients, right? But do I have proof? Do I have proof? There are times when I'm like, oh, I'm so mad at this person. They purposely hurt me. Do I have proof? Can I say, I said to them, this hurts me. Do you understand that you're hurting me? And they said, yeah, I understand. Fuck you, Jen. I'm hurting you. Usually, nope. Usually I think, oh my gosh, they're so hurting me. And they're hurting me on purpose because they hate me. They hate me and they want me to fail. I don't have proof of that unless I say to them, do you realize that you're hurting me? Do I have proof? Did I name it? Did I call it out? It's good to do this in the mirror, because when you see yourself say it sometimes in the mirror, if you see yourself say, this person is purposely hurting me, sometimes you go, who is that crazy fucking bitch in the mirror? Is she nuts? Of course they're not purposely hurting you. They just are trying to protect themselves. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Right? What is the worst that can happen? So if I allow this feeling, if I allow this situation, if I allow this to continue the way it looks like it's going, what's the worst thing that can happen? They can yell at me. I can look at them and say, ooh, I feel vulnerable. You're hurting me. And the worst thing that could happen, logically, they can look at me and say, yes, I hurt you, and walk away. And we feel hurt. Is that different from what we're feeling? Usually not really. I'm already hurt. I'm hurt because you didn't notice. How dare you not notice my subtle signs? Even though I didn't say to you, this is hurting me, I expect you to know that you're hurting me, goddammit. And if you didn't dare, how dare you not notice that even though I didn't tell you I'm hurting, that I'm hurting. That means you suck. You did not realize my internal secret language of hurt and pain. You missed that. Is that logical? Maybe not. What if all of this is a lie? This whole story, we make up these stories in our head. They hate me, and they hate me. They want to see me fail. And so this is the story I'm telling myself in my head. Is it true? Usually, it's usually not really true. What if there's nothing? What if all of this is nothing more than fear? What if fear is talking and I'm afraid? I'm afraid you might actually see this thing that I'm afraid of. I'm afraid you might see that I don't think I'm good enough. I'm afraid that you might see that I've been hurting and I don't feel like I'm enough. I'm afraid that you might see the real me under here, that I'm not the strong person you thought I was. I'm afraid. What if all this is fear? What can I do to actively change it right now? So usually this is as simple as saying to this person, I am afraid. This has really hurt me, but I don't think you've done this on purpose. I think that you are reflecting your fear, but I'm sad. I'm afraid that I am not enough for you. I'm afraid that I didn't do this the right way, and that you might see that I'm not good at that. Do you know what normally happens at that point? If you can get yourself to the point where you can do that, what normally happens is they go, that's not what I meant to do. I'm sorry. You know what? I'm afraid. I'm hurting. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Many times that if you reflect what they're showing back to them, they suddenly realize, oh my God, I'm hurting you. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to not hurt me. I meant to reflect because I'm afraid you're going to see the vulnerabilities in me. And finally, can I name this thought or find its source? And so there's a big deal to do with naming. Name your pain. Name your fear. Name, what is this really? What is this really that I'm afraid of? Where is this? And be good to it. The empathetic part of purging these shadows is, no matter what you find, it's okay. You're good enough. If you can deal with it, great. If you can't deal with it yet, great. You recognized it. You saw it. You saw this thing that you were afraid of, and you were able to look at it. You might still need it. That's okay. Forgive yourself for still needing it. Forgive yourself for needing to hang on to it. Does that make sense? Have I lost y'all? You got really quiet on me. I know some of this is a lot to absorb, right? So we try to do little pieces of this. Believe it or not, in this book, we are in chapter 3 in this book, which is pretty good. But I think we're going to spend a lot of time in chapter 3 because there's a lot of activities to really be able to take that time to look at what it is. Empathetic rather than judgmental. Yes. Yes. Empathetic rather than judgmental. I was thinking about the conversation you and I had last weekend. I love the conversations we've had lately, Benny. I love that that we've been able to have some of those conversations. Processing is a process. Exactly. And that's okay. And sometimes you might need to watch the video several times. You might need to, at the end of your day, the journal that you're writing in is really good for evaluating at the end of your day. I love the journal entries at the end of your day that say, any triggers today, who and why. That's the point of your day that you should go, oh, you know what? I totally missed this thing when I blew up at my spouse, when I blew up at my kid, when I blew up at my neighbor, when I totally went silent and didn't say anything, even though I felt totally hurt by this person. That was a trigger. That was a trigger for me, and I missed it. I missed that opportunity to do shadow work and say, oh, that's what that is. But that's why we journal. That's why we are trying to better ourselves through journaling every day, is to say, oh, I recognize it now. That was an opportunity to see shadow. That was an opportunity to sit with my shadow and say, I see you. I see you. I name you. I recognize you. To have the strength to say, 3 deep breaths. What exactly is this? The card for this week is the star. The tower turns to the star, right? The strength. We want to have the strength to take the shadows that we are pulling out and make them the stars that we are reaching for. Make them the bouncing board to launch us into something transformational. Forgive ourselves for having this shadow, for needing this shadow to protect ourselves from whatever we started with down there. And the ones that we are able to put them in the sky and reach for that as a goal. I want to use this shadow as a goal to reach for. I can create the world that I see in my head. I can create the me that I see. I can get closer to that. Wait. What did Stephen say? My shadow might be an asshole, but he's my asshole. That's right. And it's beautiful. Your asshole is beautiful, Stephen. I bet you never thought I would say that. So today, or this week's card is the star. And we know when we are looking at our stars on our tarot cards this week, we know that that star is the shadow that we were able to shine the light on and reach for as an opportunity for growth. So what have we done so far, right? We started with the Fool. That was the beginning of our journey here. We moved on to the Tower because we wanted to build the foundation of it. Last week, we went through the Strength, knowing that we have that inner strength to pull out into the light some of the shadows that we find. This week, we're going to meditate on using those shadows as making them the stars in our life. The light, shining the light behind it, allowing them to be the stars that we're reaching for. Allowing them to propel ourselves forward, to make ourselves the incredible us that we know we are, because we're all these incredible people. We're all these wonderful human beings full of flaws, which are beautiful, and full of goodness and full of great intent. Okay? It's okay to sit in our pain, betrayal, loss. It's okay. But allow them to come into the light and use them. So we have those 4 cards on our altar at this point. Shadow. Next week, we will do a check-in. Now I'm losing my mind. When was I doing my check-ins before? Thursdays. So Thursday, we will do our next check-in will be Thursday, which I think I put. Did I put the wrong? No, I don't think I made a check-in. We'll do a shadow work check-in on Thursday. Tuesday is our next Tarot Tuesday, which is the 7 of Pentacles. Keep an eye out. I will be doing videos on my channel of decks, because I have decks that I need to do some unboxings on. I have quite a few that have built up that I just haven't had time to do. We had a huge, I hate to do this on this channel because I feel like I separate them, but we had a huge Black Friday sale, just so you know. On most of the stuff that we have seen before in the living room shop here, we put on sale for half off for Black Friday. And it's for this weekend only. So if you are interested in anything like that, we have like some really incredible deals. Take a look at the Facebook channel, which is Mama Squirrel's Living Room, and take a look at Friday's video, and you are able to message the page if you want to purchase anything throughout the weekend. And there's an opportunity to win this big, huge, gorgeous quartz tower. Every $10 you spend, you get a ticket, which we're giving away this quartz tower. It's 13 inches tall. For every $10 you spend, you get a ticket. Having said that, I'm going to be coming back on. I'm going to need probably, 15 minutes or so to take a break, go pee, get a drink. And then I'm going to be coming back on to the channel for tarot readings tonight for a little while. Again, they're going to be $5 donations or up. If you want to donate more for a reading, that's fine. Don't feel that you need to. But if you would like to have a 1-card reading, I'll be telling you how you can do that. It's going to be through PayPal, friends and family, through the business account, which is my husband's account, peacetorelli@gmail.com. So give me about 15 minutes and I'll be back on for readings. And I love you.